And welcome to the CHES exam prep Q&A session. I am your host and founder of I Am Health Education and the CHES exam bootcamp course. So today we're going to go over the agenda real quick. We're going to talk about the goals I have for the program, why did I create it, what I hope that you all get out of it. We're going to introduce you to the experts. They're going to go over their unique CHES exam journey. We're going to do a Q&A session. We're going to go over my CHES exam prep course. And then if you have any questions, you can put that in the chat or comment. So a few goals that I have for the exam prep course in the CHES exam prep Q&A session. I want to increase the awareness of the CHES exam prep course. Prepare individuals to pass the CHES exam. I think that's very important that you pass on the first try if you can, and I can help you do so. Increase the network of other CHES individuals, because I know when I see someone with CHES after their name, I get super excited because I feel like, we are all a family. We're all a network of individuals that are unique and that have unique and similarities. And I also want to share tips for success and resources to help you pass the CHES exam. So now we're going to hear from the experts, and I'm going to go first. So my name is Nakia Bowden. I have been certified since October of 2020, and I recently obtained my master's degree in public health from the University of Indianapolis. From Indiana State University, and I will pursue my doctorate degree in health sciences. And I started that program in August 2023. I founded I Am Health Education in 2020 after becoming CHES certified. And I founded I Am Health Education to really offer health education videos, content, products, and services to individuals. I developed a comprehensive CHES exam course to prepare individuals to achieve the certification, provide them opportunities and a safe place to share their ideas and study for the CHES exam. Before my current role, I was on a COVID-19 response for about a few years. My current role, I am the Associate Director of Community Partnerships with the American Cancer Society. And in that role, I partner with community-based organizations and FQACs to develop evidence-based interventions and strategies to decrease barriers to cancer screenings and decrease cancer disparities. And next we have Dr. Adriane Griffen. She's an expert in organization and education public health strategy with a focus on disability inclusion and health education. She has experience in leadership positions. She was a former executive director at the American Academy of Orthodontists and Podiatrists. Dr. Griffen specializes in disability and health, social marketing, qualitative research, and health education. She holds her doctorate degree in public health and leadership. She's a certified nonprofit executive director, and she has her master's of certified health education specialist, her MCHES, and her work centers around promoting health, capacity building, and system change for people in disabilities.
And organizational change. So looking forward to it. Thanks. Did I have Danay?
Hello, good afternoon to you all. My name, as says here, is Danay, and I recently got the license, the certification of health specialist. I am a community health educator, and I'm right now living in Aguada. I have my bachelor's degree in the University of Puerto Rico in the Medical Sciences campus in Rio Piedra. And basically, my experience right now pretty new. I'm very new in the field. So mostly I've been working with healthcare industry and social media managing. That's basically what I've been doing some health promotion and social media. And right now I'm a strong advocate for the creation of more Spanish content for the Puerto Rican audience and also the Latino community. So if you want to know more about us, you can follow us on our social media as Saludos en Salud if you have some friends who want to learn about health education in Spanish.
Thank you, Danay. Sorry for the mispronunciation of your name. All right, and then we have Debra, Dr. Debra.
Hi there. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. Hello, everybody, and good evening. I have the pleasure of meeting and working with our guest, is our promoter this weekend of the event, excuse me. And Nakaya is a professional and also a staunch a believer of professional health and wellness and this program. She's done an outstanding job. She's chairing this program to help people understand and realize how important it is. I have 20 years of experience coaching and am just very, 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 very passionate about health and wellness. I have a different story. I took the exam early on, but 2 years ago, signed up for it and did not take it. I cheered about 5 women in the cohort, and every one of the women passed the exam. I wasn't ready. And there's something to be said about that. You need to be ready for the exam. You need to study it. You need to feel right. You need to have your heart in it. You need to put everything aside and focus on passing the exam. And it's all a mindset. Fear has no place in studying this exam. And then I took the exam the second time and did not pass it. And because I did not focus on the things I should have. So I'm here to tell you that everyone will pass this exam who will take this exam. It's a mindset. It's a wonderful tool to have. You will be a leader in the health and wellness industry. And I'm here to support you in this program as much as I can, and to keep that mental positive attitude, knowing that everyone will pass the exam this time around.
Thank you. And I have Lynn.
Hi everyone, my name is Eliane. I just got the CHES certification in April, and I took it for the first time back in 2020, I think, or 2021, spring 2021. And I did not pass it. But, you know, just like I said, I applied for it again, and I took it and I passed it in April. And I got my master's in public health in 2019. And I'm currently a faculty at Trinity Washington University in the School of Nursing and Health Professions.
Thank you. So we are going to go to the first question that I have. How has becoming CHES certified benefited your career? And Adriane, you can go first.
Thank you. Appreciate that question. I would say it's just opened so many doors for me. And I just reflecting on even when I was doing my master's, my professors really just drilled it into us that it was not just a feather in our cap, it was the cap too, you know, that really expressed to the field writ large that we were health educators, and that we went this, we wanted to express that with this credential to the world. For me, it's opened doors with others within public health that might not know what the credential is, because then you have a conversation about, well, it means that I'm able to explain things and make things make sense and work across interdisciplinary fields, across the areas of responsibility and those core functions. But more than that, really just helping to make sure that the meaning is conveyed and that it's there. And so that's been a way that I've been called upon throughout my career to utilize CHES. And it's been really just a major benefit. I heard someone once describe having the CHES as similar to, you know, if you're getting your taxes done and you have an accountant and they're not a CPA, like you could do that, but like, why would you? So I kind of liken that for the health communication and like health education rather. You know, if you need the health education, and I would argue any walk of public health needs that, you really want to look for that CHES. So I would say it's opened doors for me for sure. And it's really been helpful in terms of serving on interdisciplinary teams and just making those connections and helping make things make sense across different subfields of public health. So those are the ways it's benefited my career.
Thank you. Danay, do you want to go next and talk about your experience?
Sure, no problem. It's very important for us in Puerto Rico. Right now I'm working and living in Puerto Rico. We already have a certification. We call it license, you know, the health educator license. But the reality is that in terms of how the field has been evolved so fast, we've been analyzing the different options, and for the majority of us, the students who have been graduated since the beginning of 20. I'm sorry. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, perfect. Well, basically, for any student that had, 2017 and forward, right? It's highly recommended to have the CHES exam. And most of the work fields, they prefer the certification, the CHES certification. So that's why we've been moving forward. And actually, in my case, I did not just go straight for the CHES. Thankfully for the content in the social media that Ms. Bolden create, and also the good networking that we guys have, good coaching with basically a good communication relationship with us. It led me to just take the test and pass it for the first try. So I'm very honored and very very grateful that Ms. Bolden creates some content and other students and other universities. And I'm pretty sure that the program is gonna be helpful for you guys. And hopefully this experience is gonna help you. But for me, answering the question, very important. My current job, it requires the CHES. It's preferred in Puerto Rico.
Thank you. Dr. Debra?
The CHES exam was part of my first master's program, and it was important that we passed it. My Ph.D. was aligned to the CHES exam as well. And it really gave me more depth. And when I review the test, each page, each chapter, including the leadership, it all encompasses the benefits for the career, how to be successful within the health and wellness field, how to promote the health and wellness field. It's essential. I agree with Danay and all the individuals on the importance of the CHES exam and how it does open doors and is the cap and is the feather in the hat for individuals who are seeking notoriety in the field, in the CHES field. So it's definitely very important.
Thank you. And Elena?
Hi, so yes, I agree with everyone. I think you guys are going to hear it many times tonight or this evening that the CHES exam or the certification definitely opens up many doors and opportunities for you. not only in education, like I got my certificate in April and I got hired as an adjunct in May. Like it really happened that fast. So again, you could go into the education field, but you could work in other fields related to health and related to public health in general, which, you know, I think it's one of the beauties of public health is so everything is interconnected and so many ways of spreading knowledge, and knowledge does give people power so that you can make the right decisions related to health, and help others in your community as well. So study for it. It is, I guess we will get down to it further today, but definitely study. Take time to study, like forget about everything else, and you'll do well, you'll pass it, and you'll just take all the benefits that comes with it.
Thank you. For me, I think it had a great impact. Before I got my master's degree, I got a job that required that master's degree, but I didn't have one because I held that CHES certification. But I also promoted the benefits of that certification during that interview. So yes, having a CHES certified after your name is very beneficial. Can you briefly share your certified health education CHES journey? What made you interested in becoming CHES? And how did you go from there? And Dr. Adriane, you can go first. And we'll just follow the same order.
Sounds good. Yeah, for me, it was a natural follow-up to the health education coursework I'd been taking. I really loved the theory and the practice and health promotion coursework and the planning and, you know, going after funding to, you know, get, you know, paid for, you know, the good work. So for me, it just made sense for me to go after it and to give it a try. I took it right after my finals were done for my master's. So I kind of still had like everything fresh in my mind when I took the CHES. And I would say, just in terms of the journey to like get to the test, for me, what made a difference was having a couple conversations with professors that really encouraged me and said, look, if you really are all in on your health education theory and you're all in on the health promotion planning and the programming, here's a credential that you really ought to have. And for me, I just listened to them. And so I went from there to, you know, to get it. And then I remember in one of the job interviews after my master's, explaining it to the interviewer. And, you know, I was able to land that position and did some really wonderful outreach. At the time, it was for Healthy People and the Office of the Surgeon General and Office of Disease Prevention and Health Promotion. So, but it gave me just a little bit more confidence to say, like, here's why you ought to hire me fresh out of school. So for me, like, that's how I got started. Like every position since then, it's been a benefit, whether it's been overtly, you know, hey, Adriane, can you design this and, you know, write this up? Or if I'm giving some advice or some consultation to a project or a program, advising on things like readability, you know, is that accessible? So it's just been a wonderful tool across my entire career. So that's what I would say about my journey.
You, Dr. Debra? Nope, I'm
Thank
sorry.
you.
Danay, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, sure, no worries. In my case, right, the journey was pretty simple. In my case, I was finishing my bachelor's degree, and one of my professors taught me about this exam, this CHES certification. And I was wondering because in the beginning, as you may see, right, my English is not my first language, it's my second language. So it's kind of a barrier, we can say that way. And I already knew stuff. I was recently graduated. I graduated in July 2022, but everything was in Spanish for me. So it was trying to translate all the bachelor's degree and actually the test, the books, and the different strategies that you will learn in that prep. It will be very, very helpful because we are already adults. We just want practical things to be easy and straight to the point. And as any standardized test, in my case, something very important was the time management, because I need to translate in my head and from Spanish to English, so I need to be faster. Normally, you have a test 165 right items, more or less. So, and you have 3 sections. 2 are mainly the data, and one of them is just break, 10 minutes break. So between 1 minute and 1 minute and a half between each item is plenty enough time for me. So that was my focus, trying to work with the time management, trying to get into the vocabulary and all this jargon, because everything was in English for me. So it was a kind of a challenge in that aspect. But thankfully for again, for Bolden and other people that allowed me to just to be in the right path and just save my time, work, try to study as smart as possible. And yeah, that's basically my story. And for my benefit, I passed it from the first try. So it's a chance. It is possible. You can do it.
Thank you. All right, Dr. Debra.
I would say that I hope my journey helps people understand the importance of taking the exam and studying it and taking it right after. Lessons learned here for me. When I completed my first master's in 2016, I was told by one of my professors that I should take the exam right away. Within probably 6 months, I was referred to the Ph.D. program that supported the CHES exam, all at that time, 7 different categories. The 8th one wasn't introduced to CHES until this past year, I think it is. So when I started my PhD program, I was then serious about it because all of the different categories were aligned with my PhD, and that's where I really delved deeper in understanding what it is I was supposed to research, how to break each category down, how to identify my topic, how to identify my the people and individuals that I was going to research and write up the data. And so I went about it in a different manner. I think hindsight's 2020. If I had to do it all over again, I would have completed in my master's program. And I am registered to take the exam again. But I have a different viewpoint on the CHES exam. I have the positive and the negatives, the things I should have done and the things that I am going to do. I learned a lot through this journey, and I tell people, take it right away, study, stay focused. All of the things that you're hearing today from the individuals and the experts in the field, pay attention to it. There's some valuable insight here. One of which is the CHES exam is an outstanding credential. And people along the way have supported me. Even, Nakia has supported me in my endeavors with this. When we met at the Center for Disease Control. So everyone has a different story, but I encourage you that each person who's sharing their journey will bring a wealth of knowledge for you to take that information and to focus and be serious about taking the exam and serious about passing the exam when you take it. So that's my journey. It was, I think what I learned from it is to focus and put everything beside. When I was completing my PhD, I was focused on completing the PhD in 4 years instead of focusing on taking the CHES exam and all the knowledge that it was giving me to help me complete and conduct the research to complete the exam. So hindsight again is 2020, but either way, my goal is to complete the CHES exam this year. And I'm speaking from my heart.
Thank you. Elaine?
Yes, so I had similar experience. I finished my master's in 2019, and I was working in the nursing department, another college, not the one I'm working with. And we were sharing an office, and one of the faculty actually told me about it. I had no idea about what CHES was and, you know, all of that. I had absolutely no idea. And she told me about it, and she encouraged me, and she explained that having that certificate will give you a leg up compared to other public health or health professionals who do not have that certificate. So, and that was, she told me about it in 2019. And then I got all of the information and I was ready to take the exam in 2020, but we all know what happened that year. So I took it in 2021. I did not pass. And, you know, I think it's important for me to say that because tests are to test us, right? To see what we know, what we don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I didn't pass it the first time and I waited until now because I really wanted to feel ready for it. And this time, here's the advantage, at least for me. This time around, I knew exactly how to plan my time, like how much time to devote to studying. And not only studying, but you really have to understand the concepts, because the exam is not just going to be like, oh, what's the definition of such and such? You have to know when, where, and how to implement that knowledge to tackle whatever health issue or health education, right? So to me, I use that as for my advantage. I'm like, okay, I know I didn't study as much as I should have for the first time. So now I had to take the time to study, be patient with yourself. And like I said, try to understand the subject, the topics, the definitions, all of that, just understand it. And then practice the quizzes and the exams. Practice, practice, practice. To the point that it becomes second nature to you. You're not going to spend time overthinking a question. If you're in doubt, you take your best guess and keep it moving. So, and I'm glad I did it. I am so glad it's done. I know it can seem a lot, but it has a lot of benefits, and for the professional career, it's a really big and important step, and you never have to take it again. So just, you know, study and make time for it. And then after the exam, you just have to get the credits to keep the certificate, but that's a topic for another day, I guess.
Thank you. I think for me, one thing that helped me was I helped co-founded a study group, and we really bounced ideas off of each other. And it was like, okay, why do you think that was the right answer? And it's like, they explained why they thought that, and then maybe you got a different answer, and then now you understand though, like how they, got that answer, and it's like, oh, okay, this is why I got the question wrong because of this. So I think that really helped me pass the CHES exam, was really to collaborate with other people who were going through the same thing I was going through, bouncing ideas off each other, and just sharing best practices, which is very important. And thank you, everyone. So my next question is, can you share your personal experience in taking the exam? Specifically, how did you prepare to take the CHES exam?
Yeah, so for me, I think, in retrospect, I am really lucky that I passed it on the first try. I really, again, just credit the wisdom of the professors that I had in my master's program, because they said, you're going to do much better on the first try if you take it close to when you are about to finish the program. And when I did my MPH, there wasn't yet an undergrad degree in public health. So I had a bachelor's in biology and a bachelor's in psychology, so related fields, but not yet public health. So I came to that at the master's level. So in terms of the preparation for the exam, I really just looked at the notes from classes that aligned with the areas of responsibility. And in terms of like the actual preparation, I really didn't do all of the practice tests that I probably should have. I think I did like one or two that came in a little booklet when I registered, and that was it. And I just went in and still passed it on my first try. I think that it was a credit to the professors that I had in my master's program, that they were excellent professors, and I just soaked it in from that, and then was able to do well. In terms of like just other general things, like I do remember the whole week before getting good rest and like getting there early, because then I got lost that morning and then I had to go find the room, and that was like a whole other thing. But I remember just basic things for like you would do for any big day, just like make sure that you're treating your body right, and doing things that you need to do to feel good. So that was my personal experience in terms of actually taking the CHES exam that day.
Sorry, you wouldn't unmute yourself. Danay.
Yeah, sure. In my case, the CHES, I took it online. It was an online platform. So very important, if you're doing the exam offline, please, the system, as any other technology, as we say in Puerto Rico, it seems to fail in the best mode, right? So take that in consideration if you're gonna take the test online. Prepare the field, prepare the room. If you have this table, they're gonna be checking the table, they're gonna be checking under the table, above the table, the room. Try it as much as you can to have a peaceful place, right? Don't do this in the office, that you're very busy. Try to, isolate yourself. Very important if you're doing online. And they're very into watching yourself. So my experience was very tense because I'm not used to be 3 hours staring, reading in this monitor, and I tend to look away, just to relax. And they start to chat right away. Hey, warning, warning. They're gonna give you warnings if you're like watching too much, like outside. So just train yourself, because they're gonna be monitoring yourself in that way. So you get used to, just to be reading because they are very aware of that. They don't want you to cheat at all. Okay. The other things that I prepare, like I say in the beginning, the previous question, time management in my case, because taking consideration, I prepare 3 months in advance, 3 months. I start this calendar. I work everything virtual, right? It's very common. In my case, I'm used to that. So I just the day I basically took I prepare everything, I submit everything. That same day, I put in a Google calendar or a calendar, virtual calendar of any kind, each and every day and the amount of hours that I was gonna work. In the beginning, my goal it was to read the entire book 2 times. 3 months is plenty enough. I read it in the book entirely, like in month and a half, 30 minutes a day, all day, every day, but 30 minutes, 30 minutes, 30 minutes. When you finish that month in April, I did not touch the book at all. 100% practice test, practice test, practice test, the flashcards, I review the YouTube videos that Bolden have. I review other book YouTube videos, and I start to just compile the information. And in the last month of the test, in the month of the test, sorry, in April 2023, I was doing every day at least one test at exactly the same time or very close to it. In my case, it was at 10 a.m. and it was 3 hours. So I try as much as I can to use one test, 3 hours. The book itself, if you buy the book, it has a pre-test, right? A sample of a test that has the 165 items. So in terms of time management, you'll be able to calculate and to see that, right? If you use other applications that exist, they already gave to you the evaluation, so you'll be more than prepared. They're gonna help you to measure in which area, right? Because in my case, we're 8 areas. In which of the areas you need to review more. So in my case, when I was doing the practice test, I saw that the chapter 3, that is implement health education promotion, and the chapter 2, it was plan health education. But chapter 3, because it was 21% of the test, it was a lot. So even though there was other options like 9%, 10%, but I try to focus my attention in that chapter, because in the test, in my test, and during that period of time, that may change, but just prepare and try to focus in the different areas that last month. Just practice test and focus on the area that you may need some improvement. It's very very important. And also the recommendation that Nakia gave to us to create a group. You will have it here, right? You have the support of this group, and hopefully this bootcamp is going to be helpful for you. So maybe this is the strategy that will allow you to succeed in this exam.
Thank you. And then Dr. Debra.
Thank you. I'd like to reiterate everything that our speakers are saying. One of the things that I did is I read through the health education and promotion book. Make sure you have the updated copy. I used a study test guides that were in the book. I think I studied too hard because I was studying 2 and 3 hours a day at the beginning. I was reading the book, and I was also reading the guide, the health education guide that you purchased from the CHES for the CHES exam. I went and I was taking a test every day. One of the things I wanted to do is I wanted to build up to taking the exam in 3 hours, my study exam. So going through the entire book. One of the things that I did when I took the exam, I completed the exam without a break. And like it has been said, they are testing you for everything. And it was wintertime and cold weather when I took the exam in October. Well, October was cold, so I know I had a hat on. They made me take the hat off because they wanted to see inside the hat to make sure that you didn't have test questions. They said, you know, people do things that makes it harder for other individuals. And that was truth in this case. They also walk through the rooms. You know, you're preparing for the exam, but you also at the same time need to understand that people are going to pace back and forth. When I took the exam, I put headsets on so that I couldn't hear anybody. And also I tell people when you take the exam to make sure that you take a sweater, that a coat, a shawl, something that can reinforce your body heat so that you're comfortable. The room is very, very, very cold. And they do that, and it's designed for a specific reason, for you not to get sleepy, for you to stay awake. But it's also important that you're comfortable when you're taking the exam. You know, they give you note paper to actually take the exam, but it's all the other dynamics that you're dealing with in the room. Will you remember everything? Can I take this test 3 hours? You want to go to the bathroom before you take the actual test so that you don't have to take a break. A lot of people were taking the break, which would also and could also be a diversion for you if you're looking at what people are doing and walking behind you. So there's a lot of things to remember, not to overwhelm people, but to keep the positivity that you will pass the exam. But there are some other things that you need to remember. I think pace is important, as it has been shared in this meeting. How to study, find your personal pace. You want to touch the test every day, you want to read every day, but you have to decide what is the right format for you. You know, for me, I read the book, I test myself, I was working with a study group, but it's also the mindset. Those are my tidbits from my experience taking the CHES exam.
Thank you. And Danay?
Yeah, so excuse me. My experience was similar to a lot of you. So I'm going to talk first about the experience actually taking the exam. Number one, and I think Adriane already touched based on it, make sure you get there on time. So like be 30 minutes early. I was there an hour early, and thank God, because I took a Lyft or Uber to get there, and the guy got lost. His GPS was frozen, but I was paying attention, so I was able to see the building across the street. But the way the road is set up, we had to go all the way around back to where we were. So, but again, because I left super early, I was able to make it there on time. And, number one thing, or maybe number two, is just when you're taking the exam, nothing else matters. The world is outside. Take your exam, wear the headphones if you have to, just focus on your breathing. I usually wiggle my toes to make you feel grounded, okay? And pace yourself, very important as well. And like I said, if you're in doubt between two answers, for example, because sometimes they are very similar, take your best guess, and I think you can save it or you can go back to it. I can't remember, but take your best guess and keep going, because the last thing you want to do is spend extra time in one question and then you're probably going to miss 10 other questions because you got stuck in that one. I think, and I did not take a break. I did not take that 10 minutes break, no restroom break for me. I was super prepped. So I just powered through it and focus and breathing, calming yourself. It's just an exam. Your life doesn't depend on it. It's important, sure, but so I think those are the main, in my opinion, the main things that helped me during the exam. Preparing for the exam, and like I said, I didn't do well on the first one. So this time around, I was able to be like, okay, I started to study in January. The exam was in April. So every single day I would study, but I wouldn't study to the point that I'm just like starting to get frustrated or getting tired. The moment I'm like, okay, I read this page twice and I have no idea what they're talking about, I knew to take a break or come back the next day. And I finished the entire book, I think a week and a half before the exam. And while I was studying for the exam, I bought a notebook and I would just write notes, especially for the things that were a little difficult for me. I'm very visual and tactile. So again, if you know your studying or your learning style, go for it, focus on that. So I would write down the things that were a little difficult for me. I made flashcards that I took with me to work. During my lunch break, I would read the flashcards. So a week and a half before the exam, I was done with the book. All I did was practice exams and quizzes. And the questions that I got right, I got right. The ones that I got wrong, I went back and I knew, okay, this is where I have to focus. And I went back to my notes and my flashcards because the book, it's a lot of material, right? So if you take notes, it's faster. You know where to find that. Let me see. And I think those, for me, it worked and it worked wonderfully. I was able to pass it. So just like make sure, yes, you're studying. So take time of the day for that. Remember to take breaks. Don't get frustrated. It's pointless. Take a break, come back the next day, review your notes and practice, practice, practice.
Thank you. That was all great. I'm going to go to the next question because of time. So the next question is, in hindsight, what is one thing you wish you would have known before taking the exam?
For me, just the I would say some of the other speakers already talked about this, but just the intensity of that time, your whole brain, your whole being is in that test. You're not thinking about what you're going to eat for lunch or, all that. No, your brain is just on the test, and it is intense. I took mine in person, and there are people monitoring and walking around and like literally watching you, and it's a different vibe than when you're in your own place doing practice exams. So for me, in hindsight, I wish I knew about just the environment for taking the exam. That would have been helpful.
Thank you. And Danay?
I agree with Griffen in that aspect. But I didn't knew they're gonna be that strict. They was so strict. I was already nervous. So when they go straight to, hey, what I have even problems with the ID because the computer did not autofocus. So I was in crisis, like what's going on here? So yes, maybe an insight of how does the system work in details, because they do give you emails, and that's good because they give you the reminders. But it was all written process. I never saw images or videos or kind of a visual reference for it. So that's one thing I'll prefer, more details of how the system works.
Thank you. And Dr. Debra?
Agree. I think I got spooked. I have to be honest with you. I think the whole environment, the test in itself, and the rigor of studying the test was one thing. The environment and taking the test was a whole nother experience. I believe that I became spooked by it. Just not knowing what to expect when I got there. You know, the test examiners were great. It was so cold. And I don't do cold well. So that was one thing that I brought up in my last comments. Please prepare. Next time I would take a shawl, I would take a little blanket to get comfortable, and definitely have a cup of coffee. I'm a coffee drinker anyway, but they're just the dynamics of the exam room and taking the exam that I wish I'd have known ahead of time.
Thank you. And then you and I?
I took the exam in person, but that was my second time around, so I already knew how the testing center is like, so it wasn't very much of a surprise to me. But yes, there are other people around you, and they may or may not be taking the same exam as you. So, you know, like, just because somebody's done with their exam and they left doesn't mean that, you know, number one, doesn't mean that they got everything right. Hopefully so, but we don't know that, right? Number two, like I said, is different people testing for all kind of exams and certifications. But overall, it was a good experience for me. I'm sorry, Debra, it was like super cold for you. I don't know. I think they probably exaggerated a little bit, but yeah, it was a good experience both times.
Thank you. So for me, I took the exam at home. So I was comfortable in my own area. And I think that actually helped me. It wasn't too hot, it wasn't too cold. And I always stay with a cardigan on. So I feel like that helped me a lot. I mean, like Danay said, they look everywhere. They really do. They make you look underneath your table and make sure you're not cheating. You got to do like the 360 of the whole entire room. But I feel like it was nice being in my own house and taking the exam. One thing I wish I would have known prior to taking the exam is how each area flow together. I think before I used to think about it separately, like, okay, these are 8 areas separately, but they all flow together. And I feel like in hindsight, if I would have known that, I may have done better on the exam. Last question. And if you have to leave, please let me know. I know we are probably going to go over a little bit. It's 6:29. What advice would you give to inspiring CHES individuals when they're preparing to take the exam? Unless I went over the question.
So my best advice would be to look at the core areas, and similar to what some of the other folks were sharing, you know, practice, you know, and some of it is just generally what you would do for preparing for any exam. I think that, you know, especially when you're pushing yourself, you're finishing classes, projects, whatever, don't undervalue your rest. Get a good night's rest. I would say like the week before, not just the night before. So that would be one thing that I would say, like, make sure that you're getting your rest in addition to the preparation.
Thank you. Danay?
Again, I agree with Griffen in that aspect. Prepare yourself academically and physically, because this is almost like a sport. Studying is a sport, so it's something that I try to visualize it like that. I try to eat healthy. I try to do my exercise, and just that, just prepare physically, academically, but rest, eat well. Read. We are health educators. We know the importance, and we are professionals in the public health industry. We know that it's necessary. So as we say it to the people, apply it to yourself. Be healthy. That
Mhm.
Very important.
I would say, know your strengths and weaknesses. And by that, I mean, are you a flashcard person? Are you a visual? Are you digital? How do you learn? Really taking the time to sit down and figure out how you learn, and how you obtain and maintain information. For instance, do you like writing it out and reviewing it? Do you like the flashcards? Do you like recording it on the audio? Do you like reading chapters one at a time? Do you like answering all the questions in the back of the book? And then devise a plan, if you can, for yourself that flows. Do you like having a partner, that you can talk to a couple days a week, couple nights a week? I had a partner that would, similar to what Nakia said, that they would check and recheck each other and to review the questions to make sure that they understood the answers and why that particular answer was the correct answer. So it's a matter of really knowing yourself a little bit more, taking the time.
Thank you, Elena.
Yeah, so learning your or knowing your learning skills or learning techniques is very, very important. And I think that it's also important to develop a routine and a balance, so that okay, I can dedicate 2 hours a day, for example, to study, but then you remember to take a 30 minutes break to go for a walk, for example, or watch something that will make you laugh. Anything, whatever, meditate, anything, just like have a good balance. And as you practice the quizzes and the exams, if you know something, some things, just focus on the things that you need a little bit more work, and that will save you time and get your confidence up, and you can do it. Anyone can do it, that's for sure. It's just a test.
Thank you. And I definitely agree with you all. One thing I did was I made sure that I knew, like, okay, I don't know, I'm struggling with this specific area responsibility, and then I focused on that area. I think that's very important. And also to like collaborate with someone, to have that partner, like Dr. Deb said, and like bounce ideas off each other, because that's very important too. We all think differently, but our goal is all to pass the CHES exam. So if someone's thinking differently than I am, and I'm talking to them like, oh, that's how you got the answer, then maybe I can better up my chance of success by talking to that specific individual. This is the CHES exam landing page before you register for the exam. It comes with the mini CHES exam consisting of 49 questions, a collection of 8 videos that explores each area of responsibility, as well as quizzes and case studies, downloadable study guides, and downloadable PowerPoint slides. And I also have included an online form because I know it's super important for us to feel like we're included. And we can also bounce ideas off of each other. It's like a study group in a sense. If you have a question about a specific problem, how did you get that answer? You can see how other people think and break down that answer. And that might help you better understand the question and get that question right during that exam process. So you can scan the QR code to register for the CHES Exam Bootcamp course, but I do have a treat for you when you complete the evaluation for a coupon of some money off the CHES Exam Bootcamp course. And this, again, also help you become a certified health education specialist. I really want to increase the amount of people who are CHES certified, increase the awareness of the CHES certification, the benefits of that to you, to your potential employer, and then you can market that certification in your job interview. And then we can increase the amount of jobs that require that CHES certification, which will benefit us overall. So this is the curriculum. You have the intro to the CHES exam prep course. You got your mini exam, each area of responsibility. And then you're going to do your course evaluation and wrap up. So the course is $250 and there's 40 lessons in the course and 5 hours of video content. And this is the CHES exam health education. This is the CHES exam community forum. Because when you're studying for your exam, you're sharing knowledge, you're giving feedback, you're exchanging strategies and ideas. It's very important. So I created this community group. And having a community group of forum where everyone is in the same boat as you, preparing for the CHES exam, or maybe those that have passed the exam, like last fall or last spring, they still have access to this online course because you have access for a year. That you can also bounce ideas off those individuals. I think that's very important because when we're studying for this CHES exam, it's very important to feel like we're included in a group of people. Closing remarks and takeaways. I think we really talked about it's important to have a group of individuals or a study group or group of people that you can collectively share ideas with. It's important to do time management, right? Like you really want to plan out your time and plan ahead because studying for the CHES exam is super important, but you don't want to overexhaust yourself at the same time. You also want to take your time when you're at the exam site. Make sure you're taking care of your physical self and your emotional and mental well-being because it is important to get a good night's sleep before. Make sure you're getting enough fluids. Make sure you're comfortable so you can be the best version of yourself when you're taking that test. You also want to go over those practice quizzes, highlight what you have gaps in so that you can really focus on those areas. Like Adriane said, like when you have a question, you got that right. You know that answer. So let's really focus on the questions like, okay, I'm struggling with advocacy. I'm struggling with planning or implementation. So even though you also want to focus on the entire 8 areas of responsibility, you really want to keen into those areas where you struggle with. And you also want to think of the CHES exam, not individual responsibilities, but how each area builds on each other, right? Before you do anything, you're going to do your needs assessment. You need to know your population before anything, because if you don't know your population, how are you going to provide and develop a targeted program or strategy? So those are the key takeaways, and keep trying your best. And if you fail, and hopefully you don't, but if you fail that first time, try again. See where you struggled at, and then try that exam again so you can pass the next time around. This is a CHES exam prep Q&A session evaluation form. Please complete the evaluation. And once you complete the evaluation, for those that are interested in registering for this course to help them prepare to pass the exam, I have a code in there for $100 off the CHES exam. So instead of getting it for $250, you're only getting it for $150. I will also have a link for the evaluation on the video. And these are the resources that I have. These are my resources, my social media accounts. And if you have interest in, following any of the speakers, please let me know and I can provide you with their social media information. My website is I Am Health Education. Go on Facebook. It's also I Am Health Education, but it's .org. I'm on Instagram. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm very heavy on LinkedIn because I have my personal account on LinkedIn. I have a CHES exam prep course group on LinkedIn. And I also have a YouTube account where I post free videos and free content. I have a previous video about studying for the CHES exam, but that's based off the 7 areas before the updated exam. And thank you for tuning in for my CHES exam prep Q&A session course. If you have any questions or comments, please send me an email or comment below on the video. Have a great day.